Hello everyone, so welcome to the code combination, and now in this series we will be going through Node.js and React.js such that we will be using Node.js for our backend, and we will be creating a student admin panel so that students records can be managed, delete, managed, like we will be like deleting, viewing or adding new students and even updating them. So for that we will have to set up an environment for Node.js and React.js. We will be installing Node.js on the official site. The links will be mentioned in the description, and we will be using create React app package for creating a React app, and the documentation and links will also be provided for that one into the description. So just to check, when we have installed successfully Node.js, we can view that the version of it. And when you have installed the Node.js, it also installs the npm with it. So you can view the sorry for that, view the version for it. And when we will be creating a React app, we will be using npm. We are using the create React app package, and to execute that we will be using npx command. So yeah, let's go to our project and let's start. So here we will be creating our first our React app, and just to check that, this is how we can install it. So to create React app, you will have to use npm install create React app, create a new React app, and the whole process will be mentioned here. And after you have installed the package create React app, we will be creating app or with this command, like we use npx to execute the package. So we will be creating our React app with it. Npx create React app. So it will take a few minutes, and meanwhile we will be setting our Node.js environment as we have installed our Node.js app already. So we will be going back to our students record folder that we just created, and we can create a new folder here which we will be naming as backend. And now we will be installing the packages here. We will be using express, course and body parser packages, and the whole environment will be based upon the express, and so now we will be proceed with the installations. Npm install express. We will also be using body parser. We will also be using course, and for the database part we will be using SQLize. We will go through it just in a moment. So let's start with this. So if we view the folder, we can see that there is a package.json file installed, and for this, but the thing is that it shouldn't be like too direct for it. We can do one thing. uh, we go into the backend folder. You can see we have package.json file and node modules folder already installed as we did in the command. But what if we didn't had anything, and we want to like start from very like root thing, or so we will be deleting this. If we go to back to our command prompt in our backend file folder, so we will be using npm init here, such that it will initialize a package.json file. And if you keep pressing enter and don't give credentials, it will say that we are creating a package.json file with the following with the following details. Is that okay? Yes. And if we view it now, we will be having a package.json file. For the specific tutorial, I am using Sublime text editor. You can use any text editor that you want. And if we open our folder, which is the student, which has our front end and back end as well. So if we go to our backend, we will see we just have a package.json file. So now we can install our packages again. The prior method, we can also use that one, but we, for the sake of learning, we will be going through like each step by step. So now if we install our packages, we will be seeing that in the backend folder we have node modules folder, and if you go to our package.json file, we will see that these dependencies or packages have been installed: express, course, and body-parser. So just to serve our project here, we will be creating a new file inside our backend folder, which will be our server main file, and we will be saving it as server.js file. And now we will be using our express environment. And we have to specify the port on which we will be listening to, and to check whether we are like being served on it or not, we will be using a callback function, and in that we can just like give a message to check whether we are connected or not. And now for the development purposes, we can use the command node. Like when we will type node server.js, we will be getting response. Just a second. The port is already in use, so we can specify anything above 1024. Let's go with 3008. And see, now when we have make the changes, we have to run the command again. So as you can see, we are getting the welcome messages, but if you see that uh, if we specify any changes, we have to stop it and we have to run it again to view the changes. So to eliminate this issue, we will be installing the node-mon package, so that it will refresh itself upon changes. And now we will be serving our server.js file with node-mon command. So to make sure, when we save it, it automatically reloads itself. So far now we have installed our express, we have used our node-mon package. So we will be creating our API for Vue students in this video, and for that we will be using and for the database part, we will be using mysql as database, and the SQLize package for as an ORM for database. The whole documentation is also provided here, so let's install it. So we will be installing two packages: npm install SQLize and npm install SQLize CLI. So after installing them, we can see we will be having in our backend part, we will be having our new folders like migrations, models, seeders, all those things. by just using the npx SQLi CLI package. So we'll be using SQLi CLI init package such that it will initialize all the folders for us. As you can see, it's saying that it has created models, migrations, and seeders folders for us, and also created a config folder. And if you go back to our backend folder, we will be seeing all these new folders. Inside the config folder, we can see the config.json file. Here are basically the connection credentials for our database will be here. And as you can see, I have already created a database here named school project. So we'll be renaming this one as school project. And as you can see, it's specifying the database here. But if you want to use any other database, it will it's mentioned in the documentation that if you want to use any other database like Postgres or anything. So moving back to our project, so firstly we will be creating routes. Inside our backend folder, we will be creating a new folder named routes, and in it we will be creating a new file which we will be naming as web.routes.js file. And we will be also using controllers. For that we will be creating controllers folders, and in that folder we will be creating our controller file which will be named as student controller.js. So back to our server file, we will be requiring all those things here. Firstly, let's create a function in the student folder that will specify that we are reaching the controller or not. We'll be creating a few students, and after that we will be giving a callback function. Let's return a response for now, just to make sure we are all set up and ready to go. Now we are using the exports so that this function is available to all those which require it. And if you go to our routes file, and we will be using router from the express, and with this router we can specify all our routes. And to hit our route we will be using router.get, and we will be naming as view students, such that when someone will hit the students, they should be directed to our student controllers function view students. To make that working, we will be requiring our student controller itself, which is in students folder, which is in controllers folder, and currently we are in the routes folder. So now to specify that what function we will be using, we can use the dot, and we will be then specifying the name of the function. And yeah, so when someone will hit view students, they will be they will be like taken them to this function. And we go to our server file. Now we will be requiring that routes file here. To make that available to server file, we will be using fuel.exports, so that we are exporting the router. And and now we will be using it here, app.choose, such that the main prefix for it will be like this, and yeah, let's try this in our browser. We are on 3008 port and API slash what was our route name was view dash students, and it's not reaching here. I think we have some issue in our route. So we can see the welcome students message here, and if we go to our route that we created earlier, so you can see that we are hitting our controller successfully. So now the part remaining is to like get a record from the database and to make a successful connection with it. So when we created the SQL as init package, init command, we got all these things. For now, I will be creating a new folder named here with database, and I will be moving this index file into that folder. I will let you know why I am doing this. So we have moved it here, and let's create our first model. We will be using the name switch for the model's name and the attributes that that model will have, like name and its data type, email and its data type, uh, and any other field that you will like to specify, like the students can have like roll number and etc. And image URL, we will be uploading images also later in the series. And after running this command, please specify a command yeah. So we all from this way we can like view all those commands, like migration, seeding and model generation, model create, seed, if we have to create seeders and all those things, you can get these commands by just typing in npx cli help. So we are going to create a model. So npx cli mod model generate, and if we enter the command again, it says that it has created a new model and a new migration. And if we go back to our project, you can see that in the models it has created a users model, and in the migration it also has created a new migrations file. So we will be altering our models file. We will be using sequelize define thing to create our models, and I will be removing all this part here. And we will be using sequelize package itself, and we'll be using sequelize.define our table name, which was with, users in this case, as you can see. And after that we will be specifying its data types and names, like the fields name were name, email, image, url, etc. Name, we will be specifying its types will be data types dot string. Same way we will be defining all other fields, name, email, and the last one was image url. It will also be of type string. And after that we will be exporting it so that our model is available. So now going back to our database, and we separated this into the database so that we can use each models independently. That is why I moved it into a separate folder. And if we specify here, like we want to use the users table in the use model in our controller, we will be getting it from here. So we will be requiring our model model name is users, and we'll be giving two things here, sequelize and capital class for it, db users. So that this db is being exported here, and now we can include it in our controller. uh, Index, so that we have our db, and if we say that db dot users, so it will be here. So now we will be using our methods for getting the things. As you can see in the documentation, they are already mentioned here that how we can run queries and using the ORM environment itself. So now we will be getting list of all users. So as you know, it's an asynchronous environment. So let's get all the users dot find all. We want to get all users without any condition, like all of them. And we go here and let's see if we get any users or not without any error. Currently there is nothing in our database, and we haven't run any migrations. So to run that, npx sql, just let me make it a little clear, npx sequelize cli db migrate. So it should run all the migrations, and using, it says that loaded configuration file config.json, please install mysql2 package manually. So let's see. School project and so for this we will be using the mysql2 package. As we even initialized it, we didn't install it, and now if we run the migrate command again, it should run the migrations again. I'm not sure why is it stopping us, maybe because of the port number. So the issue was in port number. As you can see, our database is running on 3007 port, and our project is having difficult time to recognize on which port is working. So going to our backend folder, and if you run the command here again and picks after installing that package mysql2 that we installed earlier, and picks equalize cli db migrate, as you can see it will give us an error that it can't that the access is denied. So for that we will be specifying the port ourselves. You can check your port as well, on which port you are being served, and in our case it's 3007. And if I save it and I ran the command again as I tried earlier, so I will be doing it again. So after specifying the port, and if you go to the command and run the command npx equalize cli db migrate again, it should migrate this time as we have specified the port. As you can see, it's saying that migrating and migrated. And if you go to our database and refresh it, we will be getting our users table and the migrations. So in user table we don't have anything right now, so let's create a dummy record. And after saving it, let's go into our controller where we have written this part. And if we go and run this again or refresh this again, we should be getting our users, or in our case it crashed. Let's see what error are we getting. Cannot access users before initialization. So I think so we have initialized it. So there was some namespacing issues, and if we refresh it we can see that we are getting our record from the database. So let's move towards our front end part now, and let's close this one for a bit. And as you can see, we have an app.js file here, and let's serve our front end and let's see what we get. So we are in student, we have to go to the students records table folder, and now if we do npm start, it should serve our front end. And it's open the tab automatically for us, and it will show us a message that we can edit our files here. So it says if you go to app.js file and save to reload, you will be able to see the changes. Let's see if we can view the changes or not. So after just saving the file, it has reflect the changes automatically. We didn't need to like reload the page itself. So let's quickly grab that list from there and represent it here in a table. For our project, we can be using React strap for styling. So basically, you don't have to use the CDN for the bootstrap itself, and you can get all the things from here, like import buttons, table, and all those things. And just for the like using the bootstrap itself, you can go with the React bootstrap CDN as well. So for now, we will be using a dummy table just to complete our view section, and we will be styling it later. Let's say we have a table in which we have table head, which was on main. Other one was email, and another one was the image. And after that, we will be creating the table body. And now, in this table body, we will be looping through our records. For that, we will be using the let's say components, and we will be creating a new folder, the src folder, and I will be naming it as components, and in that one we will be creating a new file named as students component students.jsx. So yeah, so here we will be importing it, and instead of this doing this, we will be just including our component. And now we can do that part, that table part that was here earlier, like all this part. We can do it here now. So our component name is const students, and we will be exporting it like this, so that in it we will give the return command. In it we will be displaying that table. So now we will be using React hooks, so that student list comma set student list react dot use state, so that we have to import the React image, import React from React. Currently it will be an empty array, and to get our student list, we'll be using it like this. So our URL, which was local host and the port on which our backend is being served, that is 3000. So we can copy the whole URL from here and just paste it here. And so completing our fetch request. So we'll be specifying our field names, name, email, and image URL. That will be row.name, row.email, and row.image URL. So let's see what do we get. Name, email, and image isn't showing us anything right now. If inspect it, we'll see errors that we're getting. Failed to fetch, our request isn't being made. Uh, so we are getting a course error. We are getting records from here though. So as we are making requests from the other uh, other domains, so we will have to specify our course. For now, in the course, we can just specify that from any other from request made from any other domain is like accessible. So after doing that, we are getting a successful response. As you can see, it's giving us users list, and in console we are getting another error that we haven't set it up correctly. So to just set it up correctly, let's go back to our component and let's see what we are getting here. So before setting it, let's just view in the console what we are getting here. And let's comment it for a while. So as you can see, we are getting users list here. So we'll wait here. Yeah. So we have to set this response.user list inside our set student list array. So basically, we'll be using another hook of React, which is React.choose effect, which will be acting as an update on component mounted and on component updated. So both these things work like that. When a page is reload, it will be working as mounted, like what it should do when a page is mounted or a component is mounted. And it, uh, it it must also specify that what it should do. Not must means it depends upon your requirement, like what it should do when something is updated. Like if you want to load a component again, such that if some value changes or not. Let's say there was a counter there that says 1 to 10, and you set a condition that if the value is changed, then the component should be then the specific function should be reloaded. So that's why we will be using this react.choose effect hook. So in it we will be getting specifying get students, and we will be placing this call inside that function get students. And here we will be placing our request call. So to refresh it, and it's not showing us the values right now. So basically there was this typo from my side, I'm sorry. And let's do it again. Let's see if we get results or not this time. Yeah, so as you can see, we are getting the record from the Node.js thing, and we obviously can style it well, and we will be doing it in the next video. And yeah, so that is how we can like get uh, records. So first of all, we have like created the servers, specify the routes, cores, controllers, and then use the ORM sequelize for our database and stuff. And then in our front end, we have fetched those records. Thank you. Stay tuned for the next videos in the upcoming series.